For some, it may be difficult to find an influential person in their life or just a positive person to look up to. However, I'm so grateful to have my grandmother to have as a positive influence. And even though she lives so far away in Tegucigalpa, Honduras, I still feel her influence and impact in my everyday life. So my grandmother is such a respectable and honorable woman in my life because she's an advocate for human rights, she has unwavering faith, and she shows compassion for everyone she pretty much has ever met. So now I'd like to further explain why these aspects and qualities she has have influenced me in my day-to-day life. So foremost, my grandmother is an advocate for human rights in a politically corrupt climate that she lives in, and in Honduras it's very difficult for people to get the basic needs that they require in order to survive. So in order to fight poverty in Honduras, she will attend rallies and peaceful protests. And she does this even though she puts herself at risk because she puts the needs of others before hers. And she's willing to make that sacrifice in order for the greater good. And she has also helped women in abusive relationships, partly because she, as a younger woman, was also in an abusive relationship, but now just so she can defend other women, and she feels that it's her responsibility to do so. And I think those two examples are very exemplary of what respectable things she does and why I should feel the need to do that too. So I hope if I were in that position that I would do the same. Now to continue, I like to talk about my grandmother's faith. So in Honduras, the church is a very important aspect of her life. However, I think in her life it's even more important because of all the struggles she's had to endure. For example, she's had several medical conditions in the past or in the present that have maybe hindered her or should have hindered her religion. However, she kept her religion and she is unwavering in that, and it's an inspiration to me to do the same if I were to ever question it. She's also had several unfortunate events and personal struggles in her life, such as the abusive relationship, and she, for most of her life, lived in poverty. And the last example would be her need for loving others. So she did not have a father or mother to take care of her, so she could have just not loved other people, but however, since she was in the church, she learned to grow up in a positive light. So I feel that the church has influenced her a lot, and since the church was her rock, I think that since she is so unwavering, it influences to me to also unwaver in my religion. And finally, I like to talk about her compassion for others. As I said before, my grandmother has never been rich and for most of her life lived in poverty. However, that did not stop her from caring and loving others. So an example of this would be her love for my uncle, who she adopted at a young age. Now, she already had 5 kids, and taking on another child was probably a big responsibility for her living in poverty. However, her love for children really helped her go through those difficult times, and I feel that if I were in the same position, I would do the same because of her influence and impact on my life. And she has also taken in exchange students from the countryside of Honduras that do not have education in remote areas, and some of them don't even speak Spanish but dialects of it. So in order for them to get education, they had to come to the capital. So I think her living in poverty and yet her taking care of these kids really means a lot to them, and she's impacted several lives through it. And I hope that if I were to be in the same position, that her influence would help me do the same. So in summation, although her life was not easy, it didn't stop her from doing the right thing and influencing others in a positive way. And I think her qualities and actions reveal why she's a positive role model and why I should strive to be like her. And I would just like to say a thank you to her for everything she's done on behalf of myself and others. Thank you.